I also want to put on record once again on behalf of these benches the admiration we feel for the survivors and the bereaved and for the wider Grenfell community. In the face of unimaginable loss, their pursuit of justice for their families and neighbours and their dedication to securing wider change commands enormous respect. The events of 14th of June 2017 were, as many have said today, horrific. The fear that the residents of Grenfell Tower must have felt on that night is inconceivable. And the loss of 72 innocent men, women and children, something we must never forget. The fire is frequently referred to as a tragedy. I've personally never been convinced that's quite the right word to describe the horror of Grenfell, because labelling it as such in some way implies not only that it happened unexpectedly, but also entirely by chance. Yet we now know what happened could have been avoided. It could have been avoided if shortcuts were not taken when it came to safety, if the countless reckless and unforgivable decisions made by some of those within the product, manufacturing and construction industry were not taken, and if repeated warnings, including those expressed, as so many honourable members have said, by the residents of Grenfell Tower themselves, had not gone unheeded. But they were, and it is the survivors, the bereaved and the community that must forever live with the consequences. Doing so is made all the more difficult, Mr. Deputy Speaker, by the knowledge that those guilty of wrongdoing have not yet been punished. And it's a point that many honourable members have rightly raised in the debate. While we can never fully appreciate the grief that those who were directly affected have experienced, I, for one, can understand the fury they must feel as they watch the Grenfell Tower inquiry continue day after day to relentlessly expose a catalogue of malpractice and negligence. And while we recognise the need to await the conclusion of the inquiry before it's determined precisely what steps must be taken, I, for one, can also understand the frustration which they evidently feel, and which was palpable on the silent walk on Tuesday, that the prospect of justice feels more distant than ever.